Yo, what is up guys? Gamerverse back again here to do another video for you guys today, man. So today we're doing a review. Today we are reviewing a game called Rue Valley. Yes, this is the game that is very similar to the very well-known and very well-received Disco Elysium. So this game takes a lot of influences from it, but it is not like Disco Elysium. There's a lot of parts about it that is like Disco Elysium, but it's not Disco Elysium. That's the same top-down kind of perspective, but it is a whole different story with a whole lot of different mechanics about it. And yeah, we're here today to review it, check it out, and of course I'll give you guys my score at the end of the video. As you guys know how I do my reviews, so without further ado, let's get into our first topic. First, let's talk about the gameplay. So for the gameplay of this game, basically what you are doing in this game, it is more similar to Disco Elysium, like I mentioned, but basically you are controlling a character from a top-down perspective and using this character to ultimately figure out what your next moves are. And it's very much a game where you make decisions. There's a lot of dialogue involved, so you got to read a lot, but there are also voice lines in the game. And you are a guy that comes to this motel called Rue Valley. In fact, you don't come here. It just starts at this motel, and you are in a therapy session with someone. I guess I'm talking a little bit about the story, but I'm actually also going to go over the gameplay while I speak about the story. So the gameplay in the game consists of point and click. You can also control your character with WASD if you are using PC, and I think you can use a controller as well. I didn't even check out if you could, but anyways, you are moving this character around with a mouse and keyboard, figuring out what your next move would be, talking to people, making decisions in the game, and ultimately that's how you play it. Also, you make these decisions, and it is a big part of the game to ultimately talk to people and figure out what to do next, because the premise of this game is that you are stuck in a time loop. So every time 46 minutes of the game is being repeated, so it is up to you to kind of find out and see why this time loop is recurring and this part of town, and figure out this. It's kind of like a conspiracy theory vibe, but you got to figure out why this is happening and why the loop is happening. Also, at the end of every loop there is a particular, or not a particular, actually everywhere. That doesn't matter where you are on the map of the game. The game doesn't have a map, but it has particular areas in the game where you can go. Doesn't matter where you are. And a big type of like meteorite or like a burning sky occurs, and then you wake up again. You wake up back where you start, in a room with a therapist talking to you about your work life, talking to you about why you are here and whatever. And you get to speak with these people. Everybody in Rue Valley is a part of the story, and there are particular things that are not really a part of the story, but you've got to just vibe with it and figure out how they connect, because everything is sort of connected in the game. And that is the gameplay. You are moving on your character, speaking to people, solving particular things. There's a lot of puzzle solving involved. I should have mentioned that. A lot of puzzle solving involved, and the game kind of doesn't hold your hand a lot, and it can get quite difficult with particular puzzles, solving everything. There are objectives, but it's more of like tasks that you complete, and every task that you complete leads to a progression in the story. So as you complete particular things in the game, all of those things add up and they lead to progression in the story, or new dialogue, or new events that happen. So you've got to at least try the game and play it for the first 46 minutes, which doesn't actually move as real world time. It moves by the minutes, so I think it's like 46 minutes in the game would probably be like 10 minutes in real life. But that's what happens. You talk to people, and ultimately, you got to figure out why is this happening. And your character is somebody that has a particular set of skills. At the beginning of the game, you get to create your particular stats. So you can be introverted, you can be extroverted, you can be arrogant, you can be unkind. There's a lot of these features in the game that actually make it funny. I actually enjoyed some of the funny dialogue and things like that happen, because you can say a lot of funny things, and you can also say a lot of mean things in the game, or you can be very friendly. It's completely up to you. But a lot of the dialogue that occurs in the game is due to what stats that you decided at the beginning of the game. So all of those stats that you ultimately put on the character will take effect in the game. So that's why you get to do that before you start the game. So yeah, guys, that is the main gist of the gameplay and a little bit about the story. So you are kind of this guy who's trapped in a time loop. So figuring out why you are here and exactly why the things are occurring is kind of interesting. It is a top-down view, so it is, like I said, that's one of the things that reminded me of Disco Elysium with the top-down view, top-down perspective, and all of the dialogue and the comic vibe of it. It has a cool graphic style. That actually brings me to the graphic style. The graphic style is very, very cool with this cel-shaded, like, comic book, very like a Telltale type of vibe, but it's more of like a top-down perspective. And I think it gives the game a lot of character. It gives it a lot of soul and its own like particular style, and it makes it original. So the graphics ran quite smooth. I really do like the shadows, and I like the lighting that they decided to go with, the filter that they used. Very, very original and very artsy. So if you enjoy these type of graphics with these like comic book style type of vibes, this game definitely has that, and it's very original, like I said, and the graphics was to the T. I was able to play the game on high settings. Coming to the performance, the game performs very well. I was running it at 60 frames per second with VSync turned on. With VSync turned off, I was getting about 80 to 90 frames per second. With the game being on high settings, it performed quite well, and it looks very nice. Zero crashes, zero screen tearing, zero bugs occurring, and it looks really good for a game that is like cel shaded. So yeah, guys, that is the graphics, the story, the gameplay. But what else can we talk about? A little bit more about the decisions, though. The funny part about it is the decisions that you make and what you decide to say in the game to people. And I felt that that was really cool. It gave me vibes of like a QTE type of game, though there aren't any QTEs in this game. You just gotta talk and find out things, and find out the puzzles and complete the puzzles. And there's a lot of endings. That's what encourages replayability in the game, is the amount of endings that you get. I think there's about 5 or 6 endings that you can get. There's one ending where you can just walk away from everything. At the beginning of the game, you just walk away and something happens. But there's a lot of like nuances in this game. It's very nuanced for a game that I think not a lot of people has heard about, and if I'm not mistaken, the release date for Rue Valley released November 11th, 2025. So it released on the 11th, and it released this year, obviously. And there's a lot of claims about the game, being like Disco Elysium, but there's a lot of things that it relates to. The dialogue systems, the player-driven narrative, and it draws major inspiration. But the storytelling in the dialogue system is really, really cool. They really put deliberate care and a lot of attention to detail when it comes to the characters, and that just makes the game so interesting. And it's a top-down game, so not a lot of people expect to have fun with a top-down game, but definitely you will really enjoy the dialogue and the characters in this game. So full of depth, and I really enjoyed it. But guys, let's talk verdict. Final score. I think ultimately this game is good for what it is. I think that it could have been better if it was a third-person game. but I think it adds character to the game. The fact that it's a top-down perspective adds character to it, and it leaves a lot to the imagination. But it does that in a really good way and a very inspiring type of way. And I feel like if the game had a different perspective, it would be just as good. But it already came out with a top-down perspective, and that's what the developers decided to go with. And I really did enjoy it. And it's a different type of perspective. It makes you think more. It makes you analyze things more in the game. So yeah, and I would actually give Rue Valley a solid 7 out of 10. Maybe 7.5. Let's do 7.5 out of 10 for Rue Valley, guys. Very, very cool story game, and it is so good in my opinion, and I think it deserves a second playthrough. I will probably come back to this game and play it another time, but in the meantime, I will probably be waiting for Disco Elysium 2 if that ever comes out. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought about Rue Valley in the comment section below. Let me know if you played the game already, what you thought about it, and if you're planning on playing it too, let me know. I would like to hear from you guys. And of course, guys, as you know, you gotta subscribe. Subscribe to my channel for some more awesome videos like this. And of course, guys, you know I have been Gamerverse, and I will see you guys in another video.